Welcome back to Crime Time Podcast. We're talking the Karen Reed trial, which is just madness, man. I swear I see so much back and forth in the comments, so much courtroom drama that's just so wild. And I even had some whack job. I had a video that didn't even have 100 freaking views, and some nutcase was in there talking about they paid me off to talk madness or something. Like it's how you know when a true crime case is really like viral and people are really emotionally invested in it, when you see just the war is going on and people coming out with off the wall theories, just pulling them right out of their arse. I personally think there's something to it more with her, but also everything just doesn't seem to add up. And I feel like she's going to walk on this one too. I just think they don't have enough to put her away. I think we're going to see a similar result to the first time around. Let me know what you think. But check out this page, Masshole Meat Mafia. They love going in on Karen Reed, right? Karen Reed is out on another date with her married lawyer on her fleeced cult member's dime, drinking after another bad day in court. So, I mean, take from that what you will. We've seen so much, too, with the online drama with the Turtle Boy guy being indicted and stuff. Like this case is just crazy. But something else that I wanted to get into about it is the judge. You know, we see in different cases sometimes, as this person's going to point out, and I think this is a good point here, that this judge is, some cases judges, they're supposed to stay, neutral and just conduct the trial right down the middle, like a referee in a sports game, calling things even both ways, and true justice prevail. But sometimes it seems in certain cases the judge is more leaning to one side. Typically it's the prosecutors. You don't see a lot of cases where the judge is seemingly for the defendant, but in this case, this person is saying the judge is like a straight up member of the prosecution, right? And we do see things at times where judges scream on prosecutors and stuff when they come in there with a half-ass case, and didn't really do their work. There is judges that get pissed about that, but check it out. This is Tammy Fowler. She said, "My thoughts on the judge in the Karen Reed trial. I've watched so many trials, and I usually have a very hard time telling which side the judge is on until they make their final speech after the verdict. I usually don't have a clue which way they're going. In this case, I feel like we don't even have a judge in the room. We have a dictator completely skewing the scales to one side. It's like I'm watching a bad movie from another country and thanking God that I live in America, except this is America, and this is an American court of law, and I find that terrifying." And then someone here says, "What are your specific issues with this judge? Are you saying she's biased against the prosecution?" And Tammy says, "No, she's basically a part of the prosecution team." Do you believe that to be true, those out here following the trial? Do you think the judge is too much leaning onto the prosecution side, or do you disagree, or what? And typically in trials, do you feel like you can typically see where the judge's views kind of stand, or do you think it's harder to dictate that, or what? I'm just curious to talk with y'all about it all in this case in general, and let me know if you know what I'm talking about with the case just being absolutely crazy and people warring with each other, and just what you think overall. Like I said, I believe she's not totally innocent, but I also believe there's more to all this. But I think she's going to walk, because I just don't think they got what it takes to convict her like they did in last time, But being that there's an officer deceased and stuff like that, they're like, man, we got to do something. She's the reason that an innocent woman is on her second trial. And Tammy says she went to high school with D.A. Morrissey. Yes, I believe she was a couple years behind him. Someone says, as a litigation paralegal who sat in many courtrooms over the last 30 years and having served as a juror on 5 trials. Wow. Anyone out there, if you see this, have you been on jury duty before? Is it common to like 5 times? Isn't that like this person should play the lottery because they got the luck of the draw on their side, or what? Um, I've never seen a judge remotely as biased as this one. Then the next person says, I've seen trials of absolute monsters who starved, beat, and tortured their kids to DEATH, and the judge didn't show their bias until sentencing. I have no words for how disgusted I am by this woman. And, I'd like to say I agree with these sentiments, that the judge seems like, again, you're a human being. You're going to have feelings, right? But if you take your job serious and you're trying to be professional, you're going to sit in a cut, and be like, okay, I'm not going to let my personal feelings weigh in on this, and call it down the middle. And then, like everyone's saying, after sentencing, the judge normally gives a statement about if they feel justice is served, or whatever the case may be. Have you seen how the court reporter acts? She is clearly not shy about letting everyone know how much she dislikes the defendant and her lawyers. She wasn't shy about sniffing her pits on camera either. That's absolutely disgusting. Ugh. I seriously watched this from afar, wondering, did I really just hear that come out of their mouth on many occasions? Yes, she is overly biased. Someone says, excellent post. We'll read this last comment here and then we'll close this out. It's a longer one. I've been watching this judge since before the first trial and have repeatedly said that she doesn't have her hand in the scales. She's sitting on them. She should not be presiding over this, but she is, and her actions seriously make you wonder what ex parte discussions she's having outside the courtroom. And, we saw this in a totally different trial that wasn't really covered as much in the true crime world, but maybe some of you have seen it or kept up on it a little bit, or we're seeing it in the news. YSL RICO trial, right? Young Slime Life, Young Thug, Blood Gang. There was a RICO case, a state RICO in Georgia. Georgia, one of the few states that have a state RICO statute. And Fannie Willis was involved. She also came at Trump with a RICO as well. But as far as judging in that cases, we saw 3 judges. 2 of them were dismissed, and one, what we've seen right here about ex parte discussions he's having outside the courtroom, that was the basis of the first judge being dismissed. The second judge didn't even get to take the stand because they had a bailiff who worked in their court who was charged in connection to one of the people in this Blood Gang, YSL, Young Slime Life, that a female bailiff was bringing contraband into a inmate, a defendant in the YSL trial that was in custody. Then the third judge came in and got ish moving. In the end, we saw a sweet deal being took. And we saw, because only 3 people sat through to the very end, the bitter end. Only 3, Young Thug and 2 others were the only ones that stood tall. But only he ended up taking the deal. The other 2 beat the case when it came to the jury. It was a joke. It was a state RICO. It was one of those cases, like I was saying, for sure, whether people believe there should have been a conviction or not, the people, the prosecutors, did a horrible job putting their case together. It was straight up buns, But that's just another example of shifty, shitty judges on the case. And in this Karen Reed case, I got to say, I agree with what these people are saying. This judge is not sitting back neutral. It's clear that, like this person said, they're sitting on the scales. I don't know that I go that far, but you can see what it is, and you gotta call it down the middle. That's just the way the legal system works, man. But so much about this case is just crazy, man. Like, this is really something else. So that's gonna do it for this one. Subscribe to the channel, hit the button, but more importantly, comment. It's all about talking with you guys about this case, the judge, everything we discussed in this video. I thank you so much for tuning in, and Look forward to talking with you guys on future ones. It's Crime Time Podcast signing out. And all you crazy trolls out there, cut it out, man. Get a life.